Every single day, it's been $50 a week.
I did see Jake. Oh, yeah. Go up.
Alright, we're gonna call this meeting to order. Roll call, we'll start with you, Travis.
Travis Stewart, Ward 1.
Tracy Peterson, Mayor.
Carrie Sells, Ward 2.
Aaron Center, Ward 1.
Okay, please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I need a first and a second for the approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any questions before we do that?
Make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good. I need a motion for approval of minutes. Any questions before we do that? Is May 12th minutes for approving?
I'll make motion to approve the minutes.
I need a second.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Now we're on to our visitors being heard. Is there anybody that would like to? Please, state your name, address, and go ahead.
Becky Langner, 511 Payson Avenue. I wanted to say first, thank you for the tree trimming that happened in Baltic Heights. Looks fabulous. But what I wanted to look forward on, we had a pretty big issue last summer with the thistles around the playground. They got, like, my kids at that time were like 4 and 3 and 5 or whatever, and they were like grown up to like this high on them.
Okay.
And I see some are already starting to get pretty high, and there's some very little kids that can't play there. So if we can stay ahead of that, I would really appreciate it.
You got it.
Awesome. That's it. Thank you.
That's that? All right. Oh, okay. All right. They both heard you, so hopefully, two, and Dan. Here you go. You wish I did. All three of them heard you, so.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, good, okay. Yes, please.
Can I have called the election?
I believe so.
I'm concerned,
Name and address, please,
Pastor
just.
Faith, I live down the street across from City Hall.
Okay.
131 St. Olaf Avenue, haven't said that for ages.
Okay.
I'm concerned about our maintenance person running and giving out absentee ballots. I know you told me that anybody who has a password can do that, but I don't know if that's correct. And as a superintendent for these elections, I need to know that those absentee ballots are done properly at City Hall.
I'll let you talk to that.
So I asked for clarification after you had your concern. I was assured that as long as they're being filled out at the city office, in the office of the financer, that is fine.
That a maintenance person can come in and hand out absentee ballots.
He's a city employee, so he can, because he was working in the office that day. And
We go to training and years of experience. I don't know, that doesn't sit right with me. But, can you find that information out for me so I can see it in black and white?
I'll look. Wish you had asked me earlier.
Okay, but that would be something I sure would like to see in black and white.
Okay.
I do have a piece of paper that says, anytime prior to election, a voter may apply in person at the office of and to the person in charge of the election for an absentee ballot. To the person in charge of the election.
right, so that's why I called Kia to clarify at the state, who was the one who told me that that was the way we could do it, because I couldn't be expected to be in the office all of the time during regular business hours, that somebody might come in to vote. So that's why we're assigned passwords and access to their system, so that the people we train to look them up and how to do the process, we're able to do so.
Okay, I was told that someone didn't get their driver's license checked. I've had numerous calls the last couple of months. I live right across the street. Someone even called me and said, Kathy, can you run across the street to see if City Hall is open? I said, sure. It's been closed an awful lot. People are concerned. I got a call Wednesday morning at 9:30. Can you tell me if my absentee ballot got voted and brought in? I said, well, I'm just assuming it did. I said, I did supervise the counting of them, made sure they were stamped in the ballot box. And I said, I didn't pay any attention to names. It's not my duty. I mean, that was the deputies that looked at the names and wrote it in. So people are really concerned about these absentee ballots. So it's just a thought.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, please.
Deb Paulson, 416 Lovely Avenue. I have three things.
Yes.
First of all, I am grateful for the starting of the trimming of the trees at Baltic Head.
Okay.
By no means is that job complete.
Okay.
And I hope you all recognize that.
Okay.
We have scrags on those trees, and if they are not trimmed properly, you promote disease in your trees, you're gonna lose those trees. Okay, so again, I will be happy to be of assistance on that. Second to that, I would like to know how many kids we have enrolled in the summer recreation with the Y program.
It depends on the week, because we were allowed to enroll on a weekly basis and choose the one.
Okay, give us the breakdown for
I
you.
don't have that, I have to contact the Y, they're in charge of enrollment.
And Becca, I have tried calling the office several times this week. I spoke with Ann earlier. I would have given you the opportunity to ask that question and bring that information tonight had I been able to reach you. I would appreciate hearing that back, because we have a number of people who feel the cost is prohibitive, and that by running it through the Y instead of having our own camp and director as we have in the past, that we are limiting, excluding a number of the kids in this community who need to have a summer rec program. So in addition to having that number, I am only one person who would appreciate knowing the rationale behind that decision and what went into that decision being made, not to have our own. So homework for you guys. Last and final thing, when is spring gonna start? The gnats are horrendous. You can't be outside.
I can answer that.
Go for it.
So spring, what we do for spring, what we pay for is for mosquito spraying. Nothing we can spray out, takes care of gnats.
Mosquitoes are out.
Yeah, we are doing mosquitoes. We're actually gonna get that listed. It will start in July, the month of July, like all year before. It's every Thursday of the month, weather permitting, that we're able to spray.
So my question is, should this council maybe be looking at that process of not starting to spray until July? Because we have a nice multiple number of mosquitoes that are out there in multitude breeding before we ever start spraying. Or if we were to start spraying a little earlier, maybe we could have headed off some. So.
I'll be the first one to say, we can certainly discuss that. I leave that up to the gentleman, because they actually have to take the classes for that information. I don't have that information.
Whether they start spraying the 1st of July or the 15th of June, those classes and the training they take is going to be the very same.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we do have, the cities of Falls put mosquito traps around the Baltic, and they do check that. And then they give us, they have a count that they have for mosquitoes, and then which ones, I believe it also tells which ones have what's now. So that helps us determine when we start spraying, because it is a fairly expensive operation to spray. And
For which we pay every month.
Right, I understand, but it's just, we want to make the best use of the city's money as far as being able to spray, because if there are certain conditions where we can't spray, and if we do spray, and there's bad weather conditions, the weather that's not part of it. Wind speed above 10 miles an hour is an example. It actually is just be more of a waste of our chemical to do the job it's supposed to do than wait for the appropriate time.
And I'm sorry, your name is
Dan,
Dan.
yeah.
Dan, you've been here when I've been to some of these other meetings. I'm not about waste. But I think there is an argument to be made for spraying before you've got a huge population of mosquitoes returning.
I can talk about that too, Deb. So when they take the collection points from mosquitoes, they're checking the type of mosquitoes, the sex of the mosquitoes, to see which ones are the ones that bite. So once it gets above that number, that's when they do it. What you're talking about, the mosquito, that's $1 every month that everybody pays. That's based upon the spraying starting the 1st of July to 12 or 13 times a year. So if we were to increase that number, it would have to probably cost more than $1 every month.
Personally, I can tell you, I'll give you $1.25 a month.
And
I
that's
have
why I'm just trying
mosquitoes
to.
in jail. But
Just that, so to add to that, I understand your point about that they're already out, but it goes along with too, if you spray your yard, my name's Miles, I'm the new maintenance worker, I started
thank you,
just after grad.
appreciate the introduction.
It goes along with, if you spray your yard with the same chemical every year, year after year after year, eventually the thistle you killed the first year is gonna come back because it's resistant to the chemical. So if we start spraying earlier in the year, there's a higher chance that by the end of the summer, we're gonna be zero effectiveness because mosquitoes are adapting to it. It's no different than when you buy a bag of seed corn, there's a certain percentage that's untreated to keep the bugs there. Otherwise, they become resistant to the chemical that kills them.
So the question I have for you, more homework, what are other towns doing to make sure they don't have that situation? Because I can tell you, I can go over to Crooks and not be alive. And be out in, you know, an area that has.
One of the big things with, Ward 1 Aaron Center, one of the big things that dictates, you know, your amount of mosquitoes and all that stuff is our proximity to the water. You know, so we're so close to the river, we're gonna get more mosquitoes, more gnats, more whatever, wildlife in general, anything, because of that. Now, you go to Crooks, there's not a lot of water sitting next to it.
I use them as an example.
Right, I'm just saying, same thing, you know, so I agree with you, I think we need to look at something, and it all comes back down to it, like we say, it's cost, what's cost effective, what's, you know, how long is something gonna last? If we start spraying as soon as maybe May, you know, by July, the mosquitoes can be immune to this stuff, and then we're SOL pretty much until the end of the year, until it freezes.
And how many traps are out there that are being monitored?
One.
One trap for the entire town?
The city of Sioux Falls provides us with one trap. For the entire city of Sioux Falls, they use 5, put it into perspective, and that's 280,000 people. So it's placed down on the west edge of town, just along the bank of the river.
Because of the river.
Right. So
Yeah, we'll reach out to Dells to find out how they deal with it, since they do have water like we do, and to see what their thought process is on that, and we'll just look into that a little bit more and find out.
Because, you know, you can't be out of your house at this time of year unless you're.
Oh, I know, I was at a 3-hour baseball game yesterday.
I
Down at the river.
I'm
Not
right there with you.
disagreeing. I have a little hut that I sit in because of that, but, okay. Hey, don't make fun of my hut. You know what? You know how many people wanted to climb in my hut with me the first time I got that bad boy out? So don't make fun of my hut. All right, anybody else? Okay, then we'll turn to that, and now we'll go to old business. First on the agenda for old business is ordinance 283, creation of the Parks and Recreation Board, the second reading of it. Does the council have any questions, anything they want to discuss about that ordinance?
Do you have any estimated cost to the city of the Parks and Rec board, or would that be included in like our Parks and Rec budget?
It would be, we haven't defined that in what it states. My thought process was, which is also something that we can look into as well, is yes, the Parks and Rec budget my thought process on this Parks and Rec board is that, perfect example, I was down at my son's baseball game, and I was talking to the people that actually coach the baseball, and then the people that want the fields drug, mowed, and everything. They've talked to them, they've talked to me, we've had this circle, we're half in between, and I just want a centralized thing. And then I also thought of this reason, for reasons like Deb Paul said. She thinks that the trees need to be trimmed, and I'm not disagreeing with her. And if there was, a board that could say, hey, you can go and have your complaints to that board and have your, not saying that we're not listening, because we are, but, to streamline it better, so that,
Absolutely.
because we have what, 5, 6 parks? It's a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
I think.
with the-
And same with her thing about thistles. I mean, if she was on the Parks Board, she could get that immediately called, taken care of, and done. Instead of her calling the office waiting to get back to the guys go do it, and, this line is big. That was my thought process on adding a Parks and Rec Board. So, any other questions? Now I either need a approval, a first and a second, a table it, or you can decline it.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 283, the creation of Parks and Rec Board.
Karen seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next one. Ordinance 284, amending the manner for calling special meetings, second reading. Is there any discussion of the council on that one? No? If not, I need either a first and second to approve, a first and second to deny, or a first and second to table.
I make a motion to approve it.
Tracy, can I ask a question?
Yep. Mhm.
So Deb has a two-way line circle. I just wanted to understand the logic behind it, of why we needed an ordinance or.
The state statute says that you call special meetings pursuant to your ordinance, and your ordinance currently says you call special meetings pursuant to statute.
See, I read the same thing, so
So
I want
the
to make
big
sure,
circle-
I want to make sure we're on the same page, because
So-
it's the same
We
thing.
want to clarify and make sure that there's an appropriate method. to call special
Basically
meetings.
fixing it of what it originally was.
And I just wanted it on.
Yeah, no,
so
that's
people
okay. Yeah,
understand.
no, I totally agree. Did someone say my name first? Aaron had a first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Oh, okay. The ordinance 285 regarding the issue of local medical cannabis, second reading. Any discussion amongst the council on that one? We all understood what that was for? Gives us the option.
Would you mind elaborating for those of us who aren't privy to that?
Sure. The last meeting we had, public hearing. Maybe I should have.
Well, you had a meeting, and there was a public hearing on it's a temporary ordinance to, in essence, it'll put a stop to anyone being issued a license to dispense medical marijuana in the city of Albany. The state of South Dakota has not established their rules yet for medical marijuana, as you probably read. They don't intend to do so till probably October. And so to prevent someone from trying to open an establishment and being able to say, well, we did it before the city had regulations in place, or the state had regulations in place, this prevents them from being grandfathered in from doing that. It's a temporary ordinance. It can last a year, could be renewed beyond that if regulations are in place, but this gives the city a chance to review what the state's going to do in terms of their regulatory scheme, and then react to that and set up a method that controls the licensing within the city. Biggest concerns would be location, for example. Do you want them, if you're going to have a dispensary for medical marijuana, you probably don't want that next to a school or a daycare or some other business like that that would be susceptible to children. So this really just puts the pause button on until we know what the regulatory scheme is going to look like at the state level.
Thank you for that explanation.
Well,
This
He
is
did
something
that
all other cities are doing too. This is.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
statewide. It's
this-
not just us doing it.
the municipal league had hired attorneys to draft a model ordinance that they sent out and recommended that cities adopt. And this ordinance is modeled off after that model. that was done by the municipal league, so.
When was that distributed?
May,
Will that be on the website?
Yes, once this will be an ordinance, it will go up on the website, yes.
I think that's the first one.
It's
The
listed
first
as
one
a
is
draft.
draft.
It's listed as a draft, but once we approve the second one, it'll be listed as a true ordinance. Any other discussion? Okay, I need a first and a second to either approve it, deny it, or table it.
Make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? New business. Recommendations from Planning and Zoning Commission.
All right, Christopher Dreher, President of Planning and Zoning, in case you do not know. This evening, we're going to be putting the recommendation for rezoning some properties from NCR to R2 and R3 for multifamily housing. There's currently, one is being built. It was found out after the fact and talking to Bill that the zoning was not changed from NCR to R2, so that's to fix that one. And then the other ones are for the building of on Prairie Avenue, west of the Green Fourplex. There's 4 lots in there to rezone those for R3 to have them fourplexes built. And then the third one was for replatting of on Lovely Avenue, the commercial property. The middle lot is going to be zoned B1. That will allow for businesses and as well as a conditional use permit for apartments and a daycare center as well. To get the ball rolling on that. And talking with Becca, we haven't had it put in the paper by Thursday, so unfortunately didn't make it this week, so it won't get to the paper until next Thursday for publication of the next week. 10 days after it's published, we can have a hearing. We'll get the signs posted. Bill's gonna be all over that, getting everything rezoned. I would also recommend the city property that the city owns up there as well, the far east one. I would recommend that we add that on there as well. That's currently NCR as well, and have that rezone B1 at the same time. Just knocks gets them all knocked out.
201.
Yeah. And then I would also make a recommendation to whomever the gentleman was who bought the west side. We send him a message saying, hey, by the way, this hasn't been zoned yet. If you want to get that process started, since we have plenty of time, he can file for that, and then we can go through all that in some of the next times that we meet. So, but other than that, there was no questions or concerns or planning and zoning, so it would be my recommendation to the council to approve that,
Your changes?
the changes, and then we will set a hearing for 10 days after it's posted in the paper. So Becca, if you could let us know what day that is for sure. With it being the Dell's paper, I don't know exactly what day it's on the paper. So, questions? Sure.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Are you gonna recommend that all 3 lots are rezoned with a special permit for like the daycare, the apartment?
No,
Just the one?
just the one, because we have plans have already been submitted for something to be built there. The other ones, the city owns, and the other one, I don't even know which gentleman owns that one, so.
Dave Dix.
Okay, so yeah, we don't know what he wants to do with that guy, so, but that way we just let him know that, hey, it was platted and zoned, but it's not zoned for anything that he can put in there. So that way it gets the ball rolling. And then this should take care of all the properties in town. There should not be any issues with anything else in discussions with Bill. And then we can get all the paperwork, all these ordinances that we've already approved, get them forwarded to CCOG to get that started, to get the new map updated, so we can get everything fixed. Do some fixing and updating.
Because it's been a while.
Yes, yes.
What's your question?
So 58, 59, 62, 63, 54, 55, 56, 57.
Yes.
The one building's on one side of the fourplex getting dug already, and the other one is on the opposite side?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. Just wanted to make sure that I was.
Thinking through.
And unfortunately, the oversight, when the permits were issued, I think the oversight was there that people have said that, hey, this was rezoned at the time. Well, since our map's not updated, it's digging through everything. Well, the office is a mess with construction, with Julia gone. Unfortunately, it was, hey, let's get the permit issued to get the buildings going.
Yep.
And it was oversight. So this is what it is now.
So then there'll be 3 sets of fourplexes there, correct?
No, the east one is a duplex, so that will be zoned R2. The remaining will be R3.
And the remaining are 3 of them, or 2.
2.
On the other side.
On the other side, there's 2, but
There's
there'll be
2.
2
So-
fourplexes.
2 fourplexes.
Yes, but since those are more than 3 dwellings or more, needs to be zoned R3.
And then, I I guess since we're talking about it, then the lot next to it is gonna be housing, regular residential housing?
There's already a house there.
Okay.
Yes, it should.
Right.
I don't know. I'm very bad with them. They're not that far from me, so I don't know who.
Yeah, you probably right. Okay,
But yes, that should take care of all of those.
I was just curious.
Yep. No, valid question. Any questions from you? Yes.
So there's only room for 2 more classes on the other side, because earlier you're meeting, that was 3.
There's 4 lots in there, so they're gonna put 4 plexes on 2 different lots.
Yeah.
They're splitting one lot.
Split,
Yeah.
split 2 lots for 1 4. I know where you're going.
Yeah, I knew it too, yeah.
Good question.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Any other
I
discussion?
think I got it.
Okay. I need a first.
I make a motion to,
Approve this recommendation.
yep.
Any, all in favor, say aye.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna stay right here because the next one's for me too. Christopher Guerrero, I'm Vice Commander of the Legion. You have a picture in front of you. We've been talking about this for months, years. We have finally got everybody on a same page here. Right now, we are to the stage where we would like to start construction. We have that 50 by 75 block marked out up there. It's been up there for months. I don't know if anybody has a chance to see it. I know at one time under previous lawyers, we were looking at maintenance. Heaven forbid the Legion were to disband, what would happen with that? That would be assumed to the city. So we'll have to look at that. But I guess my question and the request is for us to start building. We have approved our budget for the project. The approved budget for that project is $300,000. So we want to start fundraising. We have some funds already to start working on the base construction to get that 50 by 75 work ready. We've got to put in a retaining wall. We're working with LG Everest on that. We're working with Banner, obviously, to talk, if there's any issues we've got to do there. But we want to make sure that we have the city's blessings before we start that project. So I guess that's what we're looking for. Yes, sir.
Yep. So if you get started on construction, do you have an ETA on finish date?
Depends on fundraising. I do not. So right now, literally what we're looking at doing is getting it level, get the retaining wall. And if we have to plant it back to grass, then we plant it back to grass, just to make sure, it just depends on how much fundraising. Now, we go
And that was my question, my follow-up question is getting some sort of grass over it so it's not there counter
correct.
erosion and stuff like that.
We have had some companies reach out to us looking for giving us donations. We haven't really said anything yet because again, we start here and have permission to start before we do anything.
So then, I guess, in spirit of conversation is, on this, I'm for this getting started. I would just like to recommend that maybe if things are looking that it won't get finished till next year, then maybe we throw some grass down over the winter time or, something along that line.
I wish we were as optimistic as you.
Right.
We're looking at a multi-year project to raise this much funds.
What I'm saying is that, you know what I'm getting at. I don't want to see it.
Yeah,
There
we want to make sure that we're good stewards of it as well, because at the end of the day, it's our property.
Right.
So, and then we'll go forward from there.
Yeah, other than that, that's all I have.
Any other conversation?
Chris, I have a question.
Yes.
Am I correct to understand that this project belongs to the Legion,
Yes.
and the Legion will be responsible for the maintenance on the property?
Yes. And that is where I first started the conversation about in the event that the Legion were to disband, because we are getting a lot tomorrow, unfortunately, we lost a couple members today. That if the event that they have to disband, the city would take over ownership and maintenance. So we're looking at, in talking with the contractor, we're looking at doing zero maintenance. So pavers, concrete, something that we can go in there.
I'm looking at shrubs and perennials. When I
That's-
talk maintenance.
Correct, and that's just a general idea right now. Right now, we're just asking for the space, the 50 by 75. This is by no means the final draft. This is just something that they plug in for the space.
When you're to that point, I would have a wonderful suggestion for who you talk to in selecting your shrubs.
Okay, absolutely.
Which brings us to our parks board.
Yes, and we will have city input. We've had a subcommittee for Dan, he's the commander, probably 6 months.
6 months at least.
Yeah, we've had a lot of meetings and consumed a lot of beverages, having discussions and arguments. And then as soon as we get to the point where we're doing the top, after everybody upstairs can get along for 5 seconds, we're gonna reach out to the public as well and say, hey, everybody has a veteran, everybody knows a veteran. What would you like to be seen here as well? Because this isn't just the Legion's memorial, it's also the city.
Well, I happen to know for a fact that there are a number of perennials in our community garden that need to be thin. And if it's a capital or a Veterans Memorial, I, as somebody who had given a number of those, we love that. So, that's where, you know, talk within the community, as you're making those plans, that would be to your advantage.
And once this gets on, I know Dan's still on the Facebook pages, we'll have him posted.
And that'll probably be one of the last things you do, because the shrubs will come before.
That's what we got.
Great question. Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right.
Got it.
I need a first and second to either approve it, table it, or deny it.
Make a motion to approve it.
Did you just say a second, or did you?
I did.
Okay, carried it. Okay, I have a first and second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Here we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Consideration of sale of surplus land. Are there any questions or conversations that we want to have based on that whole big packet that?
Just clarify what lot it is, location for people that may not have.
The city owns the lot on 6th and Lovely on the corner, east corner, southeast corner of 6th and Lovely. Lot 74. All right.
Southwest corner.
Southwest, excuse me, southwest corner. Of 6th, so the south side, southwest side. I don't know my directions anymore.
It's across from the two apartments.
Southwest corner of the
Yeah, it is
intersection.
the north side of the street.
No, we're on the south side of the street. The city owns the south side. The north side is owned by 2 lawyers.
Okay.
Where the ball field is.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
previously
no, that's okay.
that.
No, it's the south side. So,
One time there was aspirations of great things on that corner lot that you're talking about.
I know, but I never won the lottery.
me
Me
either. Me either.
Just so the council's aware too, the idea that this will be a sealed bid situation, but one of the conditions would be that there's some timelines for the beginning of construction. It's not just gonna be sold for speculation.
Correct.
So, that'll all be included in the bid packet that people get once the council approves, and then
And the bid package
the
is,
notice goes out to.
right, and just on where it goes out, it goes in the paper, it goes out to anybody. Anybody can call us and request the packet, or the city hall, not us, to the city hall. What else?
It'll have the bid form.
It'll have all of
all
that
the
together.
information. for-
We're just approving what it all states
Yeah.
to publish. Okay, just making sure we all understand that.
Any other questions or that thought? When I was talking, or I don't know if I was talking or if it was a conversation I heard, the Del Rapids Economic Development Group had suggested, because Baltic is in the process of starting an economic development group, that the city, I don't know what the proper term would be, but the city would give or allow the economic development group to use that as an asset so they can start marketing. I don't know the details of that, but I thought it was worth considering.
That was actually what we first considered, in the beginning. And then it became that we have, last number I heard was 6 that are very interested in and want to start building ASAP, kind of like the whole conversation of the middle guy. So that's where it turned into a sealed bid project, because it wants to move faster than we can move that
Yeah,
development.
any profits, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but any profits from that land can go to the economic place.
Exactly.
To build
Seed
that,
money.
yeah, seed money to build the economic development core.
Yes, which is the plan.
Once you have the group, the development corporation in place, then the city's authorized to
Yes.
provide funding. So
Got it. Well, I didn't know if it was a part of our first conversation, because to have an economic development group that have nothing to develop
Yes.
is challenging, so it would have been nice if we allowed that group the opportunity to do that and facilitate that process, as opposed to getting ahead of them. So,
Right, but on the other aspect, most cities don't even own the land either for having an economic development group to help
Oh, no, I
people
agree.
get in there. So that's kind of, that was originally our first original idea for it. That's why we started that. It just, we got so overwhelmed with how many people that wanted it and want to buy it and move on it immediately. We thought if we wait until this group gets up and going, we might miss out.
So in those conversations that you've had with those 6 people that are interested, because you've obviously been talking to them and stuff like that, have numbers actually been discussed with them about what tentative prices are?
They know what we purchased it for.
Okay.
That is public knowledge to anyone.
Which is what?
120, I don't have that in front of me. I don't want to miss 115. 115, yes, it is, 115.
Was appraised.
And then it was appraised, and that was public knowledge, and now this bid package will have all of that in there.
So what was it appraised for?
150.
115, what we paid for it.
Oh, okay, so, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And so, okay,
So that we seal bids, we won't even know who they are until we open them.
okay.
The idea is we will take the highest, however, if we don't like what that highest is, the council can decline. Reject all. But you have to
Take
choose
the
the
highest,
highest.
or reject.
Right, there we go. We have to choose the highest, but we can reject all of them.
So is it plausible to ask the council to not take a loss on that land and to
Yes.
to
They would,
expect
I
it?
assume they would reject it.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was,
yeah.
I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
No, in my thoughts, like along with you, I prefer to have seed money for the economic development, hands down, absolutely, whether it's, I mean, just $1 million or 5
You're gonna
pennies.
write a check for that?
Yeah. Don't-
Again, we haven't won the lottery yet, so come on.
But yes, that would be what I'd like to see too. I mean, break even is always good, but a profit is even better. But at the same token, it's not like it's gonna be a profit we're just pouring back into the city to use however we want. The profit will go to something that is gonna benefit back to the city and the people of the city.
Has the council considered where that allocation will be?
Just-
You mean when we
There's a
sell the
windfall
land,
Profit, have you considered where that
the profit? Yeah, to go all to the development. Whether
Okay, so that decision's already been made.
the development committee is still not.
Once it exists.
It's not established, so, yeah. and then we'll
The
establish
idea
it.
is yes.
Yeah, the idea is yes.
Unofficially.
But
I'll put it that
unofficially,
way.
no.
On the record, unofficially,
Yeah.
the profits from the land sale will go to as seed money for the Baltic Economic Development Group when it gets.
When it gets developed, because that's still not developed.
I think there's only so many places that profit can go. You can't just.
Right.
Right, and what you can put it into your general funds.
Okay.
But there are some, part of your general funds can go to a local economic development program. I think
Thank
that's
you for
what,
explaining that, because I know a lot of people were kind of wondering what that is all about.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Okay, I need a first and a second to either approve it, table it, or deny it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Approved. Canvassing of June 8th, 2021 election. Go for it. I'm gonna let you,
well,
this is your deal.
the canvassing, I think you've got the
This-
results for the election poll books in front of you, so you need to open one word at a time. And,
Me or her?
no, not her.
Not me, not you.
The canvassing board consists of the common council, so,
Go back.
or the governing body.
Just that he was getting us to do one.
Well, here, hand it over to Aaron, because he didn't. This is the election.
Results
Results.
from the wards. Because,
Why
Ward
don't you
one.
tell them which ward you're gonna.
Yeah, you gotta tell them what ward you're doing first.
Oh, I'm doing Ward one,
This is the official.
currently Ward one. The seal it, I just did that, so we're all aware. We better read it. I always do.
We're all looking at
Oh, it's upside down even.
Where are the ballots?
Huh?
Where are the ballots?
In the box.
They're
They
sealed
stay
in
in
the
the
box.
box.
Isn't the box
And
gonna
you're
say,
still
do
sealed?
They're sealed,
Absolutely.
sealed, and, yeah, they stay sealed.
I gotta read this?
How does that work? Do you
I don't know, I've never done this before.
There should be inside the poll book.
Keep flipping the pages.
The results that the election board
Read us the story.
reported on the last page. Okay.
So you read the Latin.
Oh, the very last page?
One of the last.
You're good.
Let's see here. This gotta be it.
Does
Can
he?
you
You just read the results.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I can't go up.
No, I can't do that. No, that you're looking for, I think, yes.
Yes.
So now you go through and you tell the results of each candidate's numbers and your ward that you're getting right now.
Okay, so Ward 1 for mayoral votes, first one on the list here is Deb. Deb had 50 votes in Ward 1. Tracy had 52 votes in Ward 1. I don't know what this number means.
yeah, looks like it's 2 quick questions.
Okay. Is it just a line? I want to make sure.
I don't know if you're looking at.
Better come over here and take a gander. See that? Looks like a 1.
I think that's one blank space, so.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's nothing here in this thing's place, so. Just one? Okay, I want to make sure. Okay. So in Ward 1, yep, Tracy had 2 more votes than Beth. And for Ward 1, Alderman, Nikki Oyen is first on the list. She had 40 votes. Travis Schurz had 50, is that how you say it? Schurz, whatever. Travis Schurz had 59 votes. So that's all of our numbers from Ward 1.
Is that all we have to read for that one?
Do we light this on fire? or
No.
do we do-
Not at all.
Look
back in the envelope.
Back in there, and then it goes.
You can look at the numbers on the front, and how many voted.
Oh.
If you care to look at that, but your job is to make sure that it's an authentic report of the results of the election.
Seems pretty authentic, I guess. I don't.
And the statute says that it's not forged, so.
And in Ward 1, there was 102 voters. Ward 1, so south of Lovely, 5th Street is the dividing, right? Correct?
It's down Douglas.
No, like I told you,
No,
you
we're on the
live
south
in
side.
Ward 2. Your neighbors across the street are in Ward 1, so you know Douglas goes like this. So this half of that Douglas is Ward 1. This half is Ward 2.
That girl knows her word lines, trust me.
And then it goes down Elm, and north of Elm is Ward 2. South of Elm is Ward 1. It's really quite the line. I could show you it, if I could close my eyes and draw it.
When will that word map be redrawn?
Oh, I can answer that, unless you guys can.
September, we should get our census, and that's when it should be redrawn.
I just wondered.
Yeah, we could also look at, or the council could also look at adding a 3rd ward if required, based on how many our census comes back. and stuff.
Population growth.
I was surprised with my word allocation. So that's why.
Yeah.
All dependent on census.
Yeah, but it was all dependent on our 2010 census,
Well,
that's how old,
It's changed
right?
since when-
It is, a lot, this town has changed so much since 2010, so. Okay,
Okay, Ward,
yes,
I want to thank you for providing those maps with the different Ward 1, or the split of Ward 1 and 2. You'd be surprised the number of people that actually stopped at those doors and looked.
Yeah.
And they still came in and said, I don't know.
That was color coded, Aaron.
right?
okay, so Ward 2 would be next. You gotta be official about it, we don't need any
It is
questions.
like Christmas, isn't it?
My OCD does not like the way.
No. The man went over the ladder.
Could be worse, could have been a fucking Wagner's mayonnaise jar.
All right, on to Ward 2. This is the back here. In Ward 2 for mayoral, Deb is first on the list with 67 votes, and Tracy has 65 votes. So Deb won Ward 2, according to the votes. In Ward 2 for Alderman, we got Ed Wilson with 49 votes, and Terry Sells with 76, with the win going to Terry Sells. And then we'll just go with the third and third one. In Ward 2, there was 132 voters. Good. So total is a tie between Deb and Tracy for mayor at 117 apiece. Craziest thing I've ever seen.
Craziest thing we've ever seen.
I've seen crazy.
Here.
You guys need that, it's nice.
And they'll, all four of you need to sign off. If you're comfortable with those were authentic and the correct tabulations, then you sign that and give it to Beck. Certify that to Beck. And give the canvassing board.
I usually just voting that I around it all the time. Torn out pieces of meat.
Hold up the hat.
Tracy, while you're doing that, I think now would be a good time to recognize two of the ladies who were at the election, standing at polls all day.
Yes.
And thank you, whoever decided it was going to be the air conditioning.
You guys should make a motion that that happens for the.
You're right.
Yeah.
For all
Does she get
elections.
this or
Yes.
do you?
Yes.
And then
All right.
she signs it.
And
You
she
need
signs
it today, so
That's all we have to do?
then take the vote to the
Approve.
delegate.
Okay, so I need a first and a second that we approve the canvassing of June 8th election.
I'll make a motion to approve the canvassing and do the election.
A second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Claims payable, are they all good there, sir?
We're good.
Need a first and second?
Oh, I got a question.
No.
Sorry.
Yep.
I got a question. Can I wait my right, so we can just like, not wait till the 5 business days to for a written recount?
What do you mean by waiving your right?
Because if you want to recount, and if we both agree we don't want to recount, can we just go to the next
Expedite
step?
the process.
If we waive our right, is that possible?
I suppose it both waive the right that could occur, you have to do it right. You'll get a notice tomorrow from Rebecca.
I have to mail
Give
it
it-
this tomorrow.
She'll give you an official notice tomorrow, that you got 5 days from 5 business days, which would be the end of business.
Postmark from the visit, postmark from 5 days from the postmark on there.
She told me to put it in the mailing account tomorrow as the first day.
First day.
Okay.
So it'll be 5 business days.
5 business
Thursday, next Thursday,
Next
5
Thursday.
p.m. will be the deadline.
So it needs to be postmarked.
Either one of the candidates to request a recount.
Timestamp is-
From what I read, it doesn't have to be mailed, you just have to notify.
No,
Provide
I mean,
notice
you
to
just
the
have to notify me. I'm saying that I have to mail you a notice tomorrow and notify you that.
That we tied. It's notifying us because we tied.
I didn't think it had to be via mail, I thought it just.
They told me to deliver it to you by mail and to let you know by phone call, and if you wanted to come down, or I can meet you in delivery person as well, so that way I have a mailed copy that says I sent it out for extra precaution.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
All right, I need a first and a second for approving claims payable.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims payable.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Maintenance report, Dan. Come on up.
All right, so we have your monthly maintenance report here. We have, starting with our water and pump station. We did our monthly water sample was done, our monthly net DMR report was done, we cleaned baskets. We did end up pulling pump 2 to clean that out by the trailer courts. Both the Kites lift station was mowed. Let's see, your South Dakota 811 locates were done. We located a curb stop over a mobile home off of Lovely was done. Streets and maintenance, the oil change was done on the 1570 mower. 2 new spindles, a belt, and 2 idle pulleys were also installed or fixed on the John Deere 1570 mower. Interstate Power Systems did their annual inspection of the generators. That's located on 5th Street at our lift station over there. And then we have the Wood and Leaf Pile site. We have a state inspection done, and that was done as well. Chip seal was done on the Baltic Heights Edition and Oak Street. Lawn care and landscaping for the river park. We had the park was mowed for the campground as well. And the fall lines are mowed and painted. Baseball fields were taken care of. Drag lane field as well across County Kings. Installed a new stair railing at Crow's Nest. Bathrooms are cleaned. We do that before campers go out there and also on a regular basis for the baseball field. Trash was picked up and then the septic tank out there was empty. Baltic Heights, we have the same thing, fall lines, baseball fields are getting ready, bathrooms are clean, and let's see here, in-ground sprinkler systems being worked on. And then Bird Park is mowed, Burke's Pond is mowed, or Tower Park is mowed. And we move on to flags. Governor Christie Millen awarded flags for half staff for Memorial Day. Also, she ordered half staff for the victims of the tragedy in San Jose. That's all I have for currently for a report. Yes.
Because you did such a good job writing those up, is there any way that you can submit that as part of the minutes so that way it shows up and we can publish that on the website? Because I can't type that fast. You talk way too fast and I always miss everything it says. And you're already written it, writing it down.
Sure, good to you.
Okay, so getting it ahead of us.
If he got it out to Rebecca or the finance office
Sure.
before the agendas go out, you can include that as part of the package.
It doesn't even have to be part of the agenda if you don't want to. I just wanted it included in the minutes, so that way it was addendums to the minutes, you know? Because right now what it says is reports are good, but he's already got it there, so.
Yeah, I mean, the reason a lot of cities do it that way, because they don't want to have to pay the publication costs. In the paper, of having a long report like
Oh,
that.
yeah, that makes sense. So if you
So-
put it part of the agenda, it just goes to the website and you don't have to worry about publishing it.
Right.
That makes
So
sense.
that's why a lot of reports like that is done in this fashion.
In the agenda. Yep, that makes sense. Thank you for that.
If anything, let me know.
No, I'm sure other people are curious about what you do, not just me.
Well, absolutely.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
Any questions for Dave?
All right.
Can you just make that question for every report thereafter, so I don't have to ask all the time? Cool, thanks.
When you get a chance, I want you to call Deb Tulsa
Yes.
and walk with her on shrubs. I know we've been really busy, or trees, whatever, all of it.
Actually, what we can do is, after the meeting, I'll go ahead and get your information and we'll just, set up time. We'll take a walk, we'll pick it up.
Yes, bring your tools.
Yeah.
Bring your chainsaw.
Okay.
All right, next, building inspector report.
It's been an interesting couple of weeks, but things are going along. Doing some inspections yet. Working on getting houses and duplexes and fourplexes figured out. Helping Chris with the zoning problems and getting them cleared up. Trying to clean up the backlog of things and stuff, so that's been that. And then code enforcement's taken a lot of the time. Probably sent out close to 15 notices. Served 2 warrants today. One was served, one was denied. The inspection is going to happen on Monday regardless. Sent out registered letters to company on property that's going to probably be condemned. And paperwork. One thing good to report, when we talked about the insurance deal and going through all that time and span of doing and digging and diligence, you were rated at an 8.9, almost a 9 before. Okay, and right now the city of Baltic's rated as a 5 on commercial and a 5 on residential. So you gain 4 points, which means that when the insurance companies start looking at your insurance costs and whatnot else, tied with the fire department's ratings and whatnot else, your insurance rates should come down.
So like, if you ever get around Sioux Falls and you see Sioux Falls Fire and all their trucks say ISO rated 1 is the best you can get. It's phenomenal. Not to overstep or anything, but it's a big thing. It takes everybody. I mean, it's because it essentially affects everybody in one shape, way, or form. I mean, and that's why we have city ordinances on keeping things clean, and even your own personal property, you know, it's, yeah, you own the piece of land, but this also can affect everybody else, because if the fire department has a slow response time, then this shows right there, that, I mean, that directly relates. It may not be the city directly, but it's the fire department directly. So that's where, making sure your properties are clean, there's not stuff all over, just everything. I mean, it's a huge thing. I knew where we kind of were. I wasn't 100% sure, and then Bill had let me know, and I'm proud of the city. That's a huge thing. I mean, I'm proud of all of our citizens. I mean, you start talking like that even with commercial property and taxes. I mean, that's tens of thousands. You know, in the city of Sioux Falls, that changed some commercial property when they went to a 1. I mean, some of them companies take $1 million a year. I mean, that's huge. Yeah, and so I just want to say thanks to the city, you know, to the community for doing a good job. I mean, it's not by far over, but we're doing our diligence and we're moving forward. And I think it's a huge thing. I think everybody should be proud. I really do. That's all I can say about that.
Well, Aaron, you did bring up a good point when we were talking about properties cleaning up and whatnot else and stuff. Anything that could be a safety hazard, whether it's a fire hazard, this or that, or if you guys gotta go fight a fire and you're tripping over stuff in the backyard, you know, working around abandoned vehicles that have gas tanks and mirrorless, that all adds up to being a safety factor. And the city's trying to simply say, let's keep it safe, let's keep it clean, and get it taken care of, and that rate will keep going down, which is gonna prevent everybody in the town.
So with someone coming in and like going through the city and reviewing properties and how they look, you're doing it? Okay. So it's like, what's the biggest impact that community members can do? Is just simply keeping your property clean?
That is one of them, yes, but two, if there's other things out there that I can't be every place all the time.
Yeah.
But if you call the office, say, okay, this property here, leave us a complaint, okay?
But
You
like,
don't have
what,
to use
like
your
they need
name.
to paint their house?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes,
It is exactly that.
it is that.
Or
That's,
they've let the cars sit there for too long.
That's why that
Yeah.
grant.
cars parked behind buildings, and garages. and-
Oh, yeah.
See, and then part of the deal that we, you know, adopted when I came on was the property management, which gives you a broader scope than just the city ordinances.
That,
So-
I never knew that had any sort of impact on anything, so that's huge, so.
Yeah,
okay.
so I mean, you know, people are saying, why are you picking on us now, or why are we, you know, forcing us to do this? It's for the benefit of the city.
Yeah,
And with citywide pickup being this week,
yeah,
that's a perfect opportunity for some of the clutter to go.
yeah.
But, which is my segue into, why is it a 1 day? In the past, we've had like 3 days at the start of the week to put things out. Why did it become a 1 day on a Saturday?
Is
Maybe, the city used to take care of it themselves. They drive around town with a payloader and pick up everyone's stuff. The manpower, this time of year with the mowing, the baseballs, you know, everything else that gets done. That's why it was taken care of through, Garbage and More. They're now the exclusive contractor. They do everything. The city doesn't have anything to do with it anymore. It's all them. It was part of their contracted when we redid the trash bids 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So we put that caveat in there saying, hey, you have to do this. So I know sometimes they say, you'll see tires showing up a day or two early, or washing machines or stuff like that, because they've got different locations throughout town that they post, and they still take it all. They've been really great to work with. So
They
that's-
listed it 1 day, but
Well, part of the reason I asked is I had something I needed to go and I'm not gonna be here Saturday. And I couldn't get an answer at the city office, so the recliner that I need to go is now. So,
Aaron and I talked about this a little bit the other day. Is it maybe part of the deal working with Garbage and More in the future is going up someplace and setting a bunch of rollaways. And so when, you know, you're gonna have cleanup day for a couple of days or whatever else, you're gonna have to have somebody man it to help Garbage and More. But put some rollaways there, people can go up and dump their stuff in it, get rid of it. And then as one gets full, it gets hauled away.
Yeah, we
None
can
of them
cer-
coming back.
yeah, we can certainly look into that, Garbage and More.
Yeah, so I mean, it's, you know, it's a benefit to the whole town and everybody else.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's not a benefit if you can't use it, and we weren't gonna be here Saturday, so.
Yep.
Did it, and we'll apologize
Look, you got sent a notice on the, I figured out who it was and I sent you a notice for lettering, so.
I want to see that.
So I have two questions about zoning. One, a couple of meetings back, you guys, Bill had introduced the idea of educating everybody of the ordinances that we're supposed to be watching out for. And there was a stack of letters that were supposed to go out. Where are we at with that?
They should be going out this week.
Yep, they've got them right here for them to approve.
Okay. And then the second question is I was made aware, you guys have a really good tool to look at city ordinances on the website, so you can search not only the state codified law, but you can also search the city ordinances. But I recently was made aware there's a zoning ordinances that are nowhere to be found.
They're not on the webpage. Yeah, for the simple fact is it's one of them cost prohibitive deals again.
Help me understand.
10 grand.
I don't know what that means.
So the American Legal Publishing is we have online with. We only did the ones that we posted now was because of the cost. For them to, and we didn't have them all updated at the time. So when I was having that conversation with the gentleman the other day, cost was the main reason it's not. So all the planning and zoning members have this. There's also a book like this down at City Hall. You come and look at it anytime. This is literally everything that I read and cross-reference.
How many pages are the ordinances? Or how many pages?
80 some, I believe, or the ordinances or the zoning?
The zoning is just 8.
Okay.
Ordinances, so like tonight when we make recommendations, we made recommendations for 3 different ordinances. Those are gonna be 3 additional pieces of paper. So when I reference.
Do those go in there or do those go on the website?
They go down in City Hall in different files. So that's when I said we gotta get the map updated with all those ordinances, because everything we know that's built already, these aren't updated yet, because it hasn't been pushed up to CTOP. So that's what we're working on right now, and then once we get that all taken care of, it would be the benefit of everybody to.
So there's 80 pages of zoning ordinances?
Yes, right.
Okay. So would it be a more plausible, cost-effective solution to just make it a searchable PDF and put it on the website? Because there's so few people that need to see the zoning ordinances. It's not like every citizen needs to see that. It's really commercial people that need to see that, right? Or, tradesmen.
My dealing is that any commercial people that call me and ask what zoning is, I send them a PDF of it. So they already have our rules and regulations right there. And anybody who wants to call and, ask me for them, they're public documents. I'll send a PDF out if they give me an email.
I would like a PDF.
I think I sent you that, Deb, when you made your application.
I don't have the zoning 80-page thing.
Yeah, you should have, because I sent the whole packet.
Yeah, just send it.
If not, I can send it to you again.
I didn't see that.
Hold on in there first. I think your blood sugar's low. What do you need?
You need a,
Oh, no, that's right. No, that's okay.
blood sugar low.
She's diabetic, sorry.
Here. Rebecca.
I have a sucker. Does that help?
Yeah, I will go with a sucker.
If there's milk in the kitchen, that would be a good thing to give her.
Oh, I don't think there's milk in the kitchen.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill. I found it. Thank you.
Yeah, grab her.
You got a Coke or 7-Up?
Do they have a more comfortable chair?
Well, anything. Can we take a recess here?
Yeah.
We're
We're gonna take a recess for
Everybody
about
fine with that?
5-10 minutes.
And then need to go outside, right there, Dale in here.
Go ahead.
Hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's fine.
Oh, no, she can one fine.
I already had two. But I think
Here.
Yeah, we can go get some. I think we got a family here. Hey, Kurt. We'll get the fan, then we'll go down and get a gas station.
No, and I flipped myself over and my leg was sticking out. And I'm like, that's strange. And just like in our field, there's some effect. And it was- she's got me. And I moved. Yeah, this is my leg. Yeah, hold me up. Here's your reminder.
For them? Yeah.
Your car's extended warranty.
I find these, it was getting out.
Okay, they're listening.
I was gonna do. And then I'll tell her after. You heard that? Oh, no. I'm gonna come out and you.
That's the only thing I heard her say was that I think they did very well. I'll talk to her. That's what I heard.
Did you?
What's your guys'
We do.
You do? My backyard is the park.
Okay.
That's why everything I have to talk about is usually on the park. This is like frequented.
We live in a green belt in
So which way are you? To the left. So you live by like. That's really close. No, I moved around Korea. Why not a couple more? Oh, so Trevor has been my daughter's semester for years since. Yeah. Yeah. You'll be in virtually.
I guess so. I don't know.
I read it, wasn't it?
Okay, we're gonna get started again. We're gonna resume. She went home, so we are not going to have an administrative report or finance report, so we'll do the mayor report. Basically, you've heard everything that's in front of us, and we've been working on the elections and all of that fun stuff, so my mayor report is really quite next to nothing. I apologize for that. She was working on, of course, you know, she's the finance in the room right now, so we are dealing with that. They came over and Kirk's has been helping us, and so has Garrettson and Dells. So it's kind of a combined effort with not having finance officer in the office right now. So we apologize if things aren't answered. If things aren't answered in a timely manner, we're trying to best do the best we can with what we've got. So, that being said, I guess we will move on to executive session for matters relating to personnel. I did a first and a second to go into executive session.
Make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Thank you.
Do you guys have estimated time of the meeting at all?
Oh,
Because I'm gonna hang out with you another one.
Yeah, the exception of employee resignations. I want to say minutes. I don't think it should take us very long.
10, 15 minutes.
we pop out every time, just in case anybody's out there and let them know when we're done.
I'll be out there, but I'm gonna be melting, so it's not fast.
Okay. All right.
Turn your air conditioner on and.
Yeah, turn the air conditioner on. Thank you all for coming. It's gonna stay. Stay.
Start unplugging.
Everybody walking out there, moving on.
Back in.
So, when it's on 4:40.